Hello and welcome to the last word on Spurs. We are your multi-award winning Tottenham Hotspur podcast, and we are champions of Europe. Do not scratch your eyes. Do not blink twice, although you are allowed. Tottenham Hotspur have only gone and done it. And yes, they've won it. Spurs secure. Their first European trophy since 1984, and in doing so, end 17 long years of pain. Our fan base, our amazing fan base, you amazing people out there, we all truly deserve this moment. A massive congratulations to the players, the manager, and everyone at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Enjoy this moment, because I know for many out there, this memory will last an absolute lifetime. We finally did it. I love you, Tottenham Hotspur. And bringing in our esteemed, wonderful panel that are going to try and summarise their thoughts as to the reaction, what we've seen of Tottenham winning the Europa League, and by doing so, securing Champions League football at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next season. And on the point of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, me and Dow were on there, as was TJ, and Miles had to rush back off from filming for this one. Oh my God, what a feeling. What a feeling. I tell you what, we've got to open up, I've got to say, with kind of emotions firstly. I'm joined by best actors in the land, TJ Ramini and Darren Hartman, and my wonderful sidekick co-host running the reels with me, the wonderful Marlon at the Spurs Kings. God, he's been busy in these last 7, 8, 9 hours. Now, we spent the last few hours together on that pitch, the emotions of our children. Your face says it all there. Can you just sum up how you are feeling? Because I just feel those words never in my lifetime. I just kept saying that to myself. I was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium looking around me. The fans, those scenes with family, you know, hugging such dear loved ones. Incredible, right? Incredible.
It's a moment we will never forget. Spurs fans, we have waited a long time for this. This is our time. This is our day. This is our week. This is now our month until another Premier League ball is kicked in the new season. It's our time. It's our time. No one can tell us a thing. Go to work in your shirt. Go to bed in your shirt. Go everywhere. Be proud to be a Spurs fan. We have been through misery, pain, and heartache. And today we celebrate. We don't stop celebrating. I hugged so many strangers today. It was mental. I've never hugged people like that before in my life. And we deserve it. Every Spurs fan, you deserve this. This is ours. No one can take this away from us. No one can take this night, this memory away from us. We couldn't be in Bilbao. We was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and there was nowhere else in the world I would have wanted to be, because I was surrounded by lily white love and people all willing that ball into the back of the net and willing Van der Ven's leg to stop that one going in. God bless our team. God bless our fan base. We all deserve this. Oh, what a night. What a night. Oh,
unbelievable. Unbelievable. I just keep saying those words, never in my lifetime. I've got to put it in perspective. For listeners on audio, we have started recording this show at 1:20 a.m. in the morning. And I think that normally throughout this season, I've had to try and convince the guys, 1:26, that was showing the camera. I've had to try and convince these guys to come on at the most darkest of times. I know there's been times where Mars looked at his phone and thought, oh my God, I'm not going to have to come and do a Premier League game, am I? I'm not. Tej, let me come to you and get Mars to compose his thoughts. Just give me your summary of feelings. You know, you've travelled, gotta just say, from across the world for this, from the States over here to the UK to share this moment with so many Tottenham fans. And we're all going to get together on Saturday for a lovely time, a close gathering with, you know, what we've now embodied ourselves to be really close friends. Just sum up your feelings, Tej, and what we've just seen Tottenham winning their first European trophy for 41 years and ending this 17 long year wait. silverware.
It really is a complete smorgasbord, isn't it, of so many different emotions. And I think, firstly, God, it sounds like some sort of acceptance speech, but I should thank my wife, because we're on holiday and we're up in the countryside, up in Yorkshire, where she's from. And as soon as we made it through to the final, she said, "You have to go to that." And so here I am. And like Darren said, man, we're not in Bilbao, but what an atmosphere at that stadium tonight. And what a fan base we are, man. I met so many just wonderful, lovely, kind, generous souls tonight, man, who showed so much love to this podcast, and to you as well, Rick, brother. You're so deserving, man. The amount of work, the amount
team,
of
bro. It's a team. It's a team. We've
brother,
all had to chip together.
You are the captain. And as we've seen, no team functions without a captain. And you are so deserving, my friend. And you know what? We all are, man. I met so many lovely people. I'm going to try to remember Ari, Mattel, John, Danny G, Rix, Leon and Patrick, and oh God, Halston, I think is there. I met so many lovely people, man, who really come to this show in times of sorrow and in times of utter jubilation. And tonight is a memorable, wonderful, magical evening, a truly professional, composed performance. They didn't lay a bloody glove on us, did they? Come on, you Spurs.
I'll tell you what. You know what? It's not often that I'm stuck for words, but I have to keep. I don't know. I know listeners will get this in the morning when they have to keep watching the highlights again and seeing the images to believe this has really happened. It has truly happened. Tottenham truly have ended their trophy drought, and we'll come on to the nature of how they've done it. But I mean, Miles, I have to come to you to get a feeling. And look, I mean, Miles has joined us having done an 8-hour stint on our friends over at We Are Tottenham TV. They won't mind us saying that. We've had to share Miles, who's had to come all the way back over here and had to drive and relive this again. Miles, did it even feel like you were watching the game? It's just, sum up your feelings firstly, because this is an amazing feeling that I know for a lot of us here, we still can't quite believe it. We're still in shock, right? It's an amazing, amazing feeling, this.
For about 10 minutes, as soon as that final whistle went, I didn't say a word. I didn't know what to do, say, or anything, because the feeling that I've wanted for the last 17 years finally came true. And I'm sitting there going, nah, this can't be real. This can't be real. This can't be real. And I actually thought, even when you're showing the picture of Sonny and showing these pictures, I think it's AI. I just believe it ain't happening. This doesn't happen to Tottenham Hotspur. But guess what? It did. It finally happened. And to share it with all the fans that were overseas that couldn't get here, to share it with them tonight on We Are Tottenham TV and on here that you're seeing now in the comments, it's been such a wonderful moment. I haven't stopped smiling. The first thing I did was ring my wife. It was the first time we haven't spent an occasion together, because I went, I'm going to go do We Are Tottenham TV. So I owe her a massive apology. My kids will probably wake up in the morning and go, Dad, did we win? And they're just going to see me like, yes, we did it. You get to go to school loud and proud. But all I want to say is everybody that's in the chat still tonight.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Here
are around 4,000 that are just starting to watch this show now. I mean, it is incredible. If I could try and tell you the amount of people that stopped me. Marlon, I mean, to be fair, I was going to be honest with you. This has only been put together recently. We were, as Marlon, we had a conversation a few weeks ago, and we were kind of thinking, no, we're going to go and enjoy winning a trophy. And then we thought to ourselves, what are we going to do after midnight and when everything kind of closes? And I'm like, listen, we're going to be at the parade, which is going to be amazing. And we thought, you know what? It's only right we share this with a lot of the people that I know stop you guys in the street, stop me in the street, and share their absolute love and jubilation for the show. And I just think, I know about a lot of people out there. I mean, I can't really sleep. And I think as soon as we get off this, we'll be watching the reruns and the highlights and all the clips Spurs are putting out. And you know what? I want to say this at the very, very top. I think we all know how difficult it's been supporting Spurs this season. I think, we've had our differences for certain with the board, with the manager, with the players. I think it's really important that we say at the top of this show, this is a show of jubilation and celebration. I think we're acutely aware There is a lot of questions that will need to be answered, and they will be answered. But I think for our fans out there that have waited so long for a trophy, I think we can just honestly enjoy this moment because it's special. It's really special. Look, you're going to hear from both Ange Postecoglou and Mickey van der Ven during this show. We're going to read you out some of the amazing comments we've had in from Spurs' captain, Heung-Min Son, who has ended his trophy drought and is now firmly a legend at Tottenham Hotspur. And TJ, for our listeners on audio, is donning number 7 Son on the back of his shirt. And the scenes that showed Sonny so delighted to win that trophy, just simply unbelievable. We're also going to hear from James Maddison. I'll be reading out some comments from him about how proud he is to end the trophy drought in a Spurs shirt, where he said he spoke to his brother and his dad and insisted he would be winning a European trophy with Tottenham. And he did. And he's kissing it for our listeners on audio, just to make you aware. Amazing images. But let's open up, if we can try, with the match facts and the stats from this game. Marlon so eloquently putting this together for us, and we love him for that as always. He's the wheels and the run at the background for me here, doing the hard work in the background. Tottenham 1, Manchester United 0. Tottenham 3 shots to Man United 16. Tottenham the 1 shot on target, the one that mattered, to Man United 6. 11 touches in Man U's box to Tottenham's 39. United dominating that aspect of it. Yellow cards were dished out. 4 in the favour of United to 3 from Tottenham. Tottenham only the 1 offside during the game to United's 2. Quarter count, United did, to some degree, edge that 4-5. And possession-wise, look at that for a stat. 73% possession for United to 27% from Tottenham. And the XG, which tells you all that mattered. Tottenham 1.01. A lot of that clogged up from that goal Spurs did manage to put in the back of United's net. So United 0.85. That really shows the lack of creativity United had during the game. And at no point really did it look like changing. It was bizarre. I know Ruben Amorim has come out and said he feels the better side lost. But you know what? I think I said this before. We went into this on the back of 4 finals without a goal. I think a 44 shot count before Brennan Johnson, maybe with a helping hand, put Tottenham in front. But look, we can safely say to open with your Dow formally. And before I do, guys, keep liking, keep subscribing. We want this going out to a big, wide world Spurs audience. Listen, there's over, I think, 4,000 or 5,000 watching this show live. We should be running up at least 1,000 likes. Everyone go and hit that like button. Run it up to the Spurs family out there. Make sure it goes worldwide. Make sure you're hitting subscribe. You can now put away Dr. Tottenham, Dr. Spursy, the empty trophy cabinet. Lads, it's Tottenham. It's all in the bin. It's all in the bin, isn't it? As Brennan Johnson is the man that does deliver Tottenham the moment we all needed. That 42nd minute goal, meaning the 17-year trophy drought for Spurs is firmly over. Europa League winners. It secures our spot in the Champions League for next season. Dale, I asked about how you feel. What does that result mean for Tottenham?
First, I just want to comment on Amorim. That's where I'm going to start first.
Go
The better team didn't win. What was he smoking? What was he smoking? That is bitterness. And any Man United fan, because I'm not dealing with anybody today. My phone is not relevant tonight. I'm here. And God, today, what did this mean? What did this mean for Tottenham? This means so much for Tottenham because Champions League, the revenue it brings in, the type of players we can bring in, the transfer window we can have, everything changes for the good. There's a massive positive shift for this club. And yes, there'll be fans who want to talk about finishing 17th in the league. It doesn't matter right now because what matters is this team, this beautiful team, the cockerel that we wear, has got another trophy to play for. We still have the Super League. We've got look at that.
Super Cup.
Super
the Super Cup.
That is us.
Can I just say, Tottenham
We're already in it.
We will face
People are waiting to
Inter
play
or
us.
Paris Saint-Germain in the UEFA Super Cup in Udine in Italy.
It's
Now, what is
bonkers.
going on?
It's bonkers to think that this is our future. That's a part of our future now. You couldn't think about that before. We weren't allowed to dream about stuff like this. Now we can. Spurs fans, today, I'm going to keep saying it again. We deserve this. We all deserve this. So just enjoy every minute. Watch the highlights a million times. Just enjoy, soak it in, because for our club, no one can talk about that trophy cabinet, because guess what? It's wide open right now, and there's a big boy trophy getting put in it. There's a big boy trophy going in there right now. Don't talk to me about trophies. Don't talk to me about winning. Don't ever tell me about Spursy. It doesn't exist anymore. Can you smell Spursy? I can't. It don't exist. It does not exist. We blew away tonight. We blew away so much. And obviously, I'm a Spurs fan of a certain age. And I had the privilege of taking my boys with me, and I saw young kids there who now get to go with their chest high tomorrow.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
High. Can you imagine what it feels like to be the Spurs fan, or to be the fan with the shirt that everyone's going to be looking at tomorrow? Everyone go, I want to be a part of that. We've got a parade, gentlemen. We have a parade on Friday. Our high road is going to look amazing again. And our neighbors down the road are parading water bottles. Water bottles. That's what they're parading. There's nothing else being paraded.
I can't believe what's going on. When they say, never in my lifetime. I think we all witnessed in the earlier part of the season, those Newcastle fans, where they had that moment. I don't know about you, Tej. I've got absolutely no shame in that parade on Friday, because you know what? We have waited 17 years. We have been starving. We are so hungry. Famine. Famine. We need this. Look, it's funny because Tottenham losing to City last season stopped Arsenal winning the league. That put Spurs in the Europa League, which they just won. Meanwhile, Arsenal still have no European silverware. It's ironic how things do work out. And I think another crazy stat is that Tottenham have now beaten United 4 times in 2024, 2025, becoming only the second time to win 4 games against them in one season, along with Everton back in 85, 86. You describe it as a nemesis, but it's also crazy when you think 16% of Spurs' wins this season came against Man United. Spurs, we mentioned, had the 3 shots, just 27.7% possession, completing just 115 passes during the game. All the lowest figures Opta has on record by any team in a major European final since 09-10. It screams out that word plan. We're going to give Ange's flowers shortly, Tej. I promise you we are. But being in that stadium, being around those fans, I asked you your emotions, but what does that win mean for Tottenham, Tej?
God, I think I just want to start as well and just reiterate that we're so deserving of this, man. And like Darren just said, man, just really drink this in, Tottenham. I think it will take a while. It's such a sort of discombobulating sensation because it really is a plethora of different emotions. And being in the stadium this evening, and, I'm there with my brother and my oldest friends. It was a very special thing, and my brother's boy and a friend of his, and it's a lovely thing. It really is special. It is historic, and there's no kind of hyperbole. This is the nuts of it. Pragmatically speaking, realistically speaking, this is a very, very special moment. So what it means for us, and again, Darren surmised this so eloquently, is that it's an enormous confidence booster. Obviously, it's a revenue generator. I think it gives us the opportunity to retain quality players that perhaps weren't sure. Do we have a Romero conversation on this episode? Potentially. But
man of the match, Romero. We'll come on to him shortly. Man of the match, Romero.
I thought Richarlison was man of the match for 65 minutes. I thought he was absolutely extraordinary. And Bissouma played out of his skin tonight and hobbled off the pitch really like a gladiator who had given it all. And he was everywhere, bless his heart. And he really battled, and he was intelligent. He made the right tackles at the right time. Oh, goodness. There were so many heroes out there this evening. I remember I met this lovely chap earlier today, actually, when I was heading for the game, and I had my Tottenham shirt on. And he had a Crystal Palace scarf around his neck. Lovely chap. I said, you know what, brother? Big up you guys, man. Everyone was singing for you. Everyone was screaming for you. And I said, you were a heroic performance. He said, bro, thank you so much, man. I was so happy and blah, blah, blah. And he knows me from the pod. He's like, oh, you do the last word? I said, oh, yeah. He said, oh, I watch that sometimes. I'm like, yeah, man. He goes, good luck this afternoon. So that's that feeling of general shared warmth and compassion and consideration that was just such a wonderful thing to witness and to be a part of. And then, you know, the performance was so professionally executed. And again, gang, you know, before we came on the air, and sorry to keep you waiting, you know, obviously we were all at the stadium and rushing to get home, and, you know, Marlon's held it all together and done a wonderful job, and we have to get, you know, all of our ducks in a row before coming on. And you know, we were really saying that the 1-0 is such a wonderfully satisfying result in a cup final. A diligent, you know, well fought, crafted, technically sound 1-0 against a very listless, toothless Manchester United who offered nothing. Manchester United, my arse. No disrespect, but they look like Burnley under Sean Dyche. How many balls can we aerially? They should have, you know, they should have given them a trebuchet machine, you know, that thing that would throw boulders over castles in the Middle Ages. That's all they had to do. They didn't once try to take us down the middle. No. They didn't once try to pass it around us. They had no pace, no thrust, no nothing. They honestly were the most toothless, listless, pathetic bunch of, you know, mediocre footballers I'd ever seen. You know, I think we were, of course, we had 11 men behind the ball. We had to defend, and we defended diligently, but they didn't lay a glove on us, man. They really didn't. And I know that, you know, Van der Ven cleared the ball off the line and everything.
And of course, Vakari at the end. Yes.
But that's because Vic dropped it. Dropped it.
Yeah.
So just love it. Just love it. So happy to be home, man. So happy to have gone to the stadium. So happy to be on the show, man. I'm just looking forward to soaking up the love over the next week.
It's going to be amazing. I mean, the feeling I can only say to you, having, as we were, Tej and Dow, being in that stadium, witnessing it, and then came back to do this, I'm on such a high. I know that Miles has been going for hours as well.
It's absolutely destroyed.
It's unbelievable.
All those high notes will be escaping me for at least a week.
Everyone's asking me what has happened to TJ's voice. Tottenham did that. Tottenham did that. Unbelievable. Miles, let me come to you. Look, it's ironic when you think someone like Brennan Johnson, who's taken a lot of stick, you know, in the Spurs fan base at times, you know, deactivated his Instagram back in September due to the reported abuse he faced, but he ends the season by scoring the match-winning goal to deliver Spurs his first trophy in 17 years. The comeback of all comebacks. It also was Spurs' 150th victory in European competition. And it's so ironic, you know, I read, you know, stats about Tottenham and United, the fact that Spurs, you know, 16% of Spurs' wins this season came against United. 3 shots, just 27.7% possession. The 115 passes completed overall, one of the lowest in Opta record stats. And Spurs have kept 2 clean sheets against Premier League opposition since the 10th of February. Man United. And lads, it's Man United. I mean, do you feel, Miles, that's why there was a lot of confidence going into the game that we know United is stat around. They've never lost 4 times in a season, unless you go back to, 85, 86 against Everton. But the reality is, it just felt this was Tottenham's night. There were certain things happening during that game, as we know. The Van der Ven moment, that clearance, the Vicario save at the end. You know, you just felt as the game moved on, this was going to be Tottenham's night. Do you agree, Miles?
Look, first of all, let's take a moment of silence because the X account at _Spurs trophies is literally finally done. Yeah, just go over there. You just see Homer Simpson sitting there saying, finally, okay? Because that was the account that was getting at us for so long, and we've finally done it. So that account is going to be shut down tomorrow, hopefully, or just transfer to Arsenal. But it was a gooner that's just started it, so a moment of silence. But I just wanted to go back on the Brennan Johnson piece quickly. I gave him a massive apology today, and that was before he scored his goal, because I could see clearly from when the game started, there was only 2 players that I slightly had a little bit of worry in the first 10 minutes. However, they all kind of just started to get in the game. But Brennan Johnson, as soon as he hit Luke Shaw did not know what was coming. He literally, and it was when I think him and Harry Maguire got in a bit of a kerfuffle, and he ends up getting the ball. And I thought, you know what? If we're going to score a goal, it is going to be. And a lot of people said the tapping merchant is going to get it. And you know what? I apologize for anything I've said throughout the season to him, because he's gone down as a Spurs legend tonight. No matter what he does for the rest of his career, he has scored the winning goal in a European final, and I can't thank him enough. I really can't thank him enough, and I really hope he gets to see this
tonight.
Yeah,
I thought he'd score twice.
yeah, and
Really
I look at him and go, you've taken a lot at the beginning of the season,
man.
you know, and then you went through your run, and then you kind of went up and down like a yo-yo. But look, he's our top goal scorer for a reason. And some of the bits that were coming out with him from training and stuff, he deserved everything he got for tonight. He absolutely deserved it.
Well said,
but
man.
you've always got to look at it and go, Basuma, Basuma, what a player tonight. And him and Bentancur, I think Ange has done it wonderfully in Europe, what he's done to them. And it's just been, and like I'm sitting here in shock that I'm still talking about Spurs winning a trophy. It's
honestly,
like it won't hit me
I
for a
keep
couple
thinking,
months.
I keep thinking we're gonna wake up.
Yeah, it's only just watching the comments. I'm trying to go through X, trying to go through in. I'm just trying to go through everything.
I have to re-emphasize this. I think for all of us here, having come from the stadium, we have not had a chance to really process anything we've seen.
I haven't seen anybody.
Apart from these images, I've still not seen a video version of Spurs lifting the trophy. He was too busy parading on the pitch with his beautiful children. He didn't get a chance. It is simply remarkable. It is remarkable. And I think Gareth Bale, a lovely little wording from Gareth Bale on TNT, said that he thinks that bringing that Europa League trophy back to Spurs will end that stigma around Tottenham Hotspur. And it could be a United-y thing now. And the man that has delivered Tottenham that trophy is, of course, Ange Postecoglou. And look, I think no matter what you think about the manager, how you feel, you have to give the man his flowers for delivering Tottenham a European trophy. So look, without further ado, we are going to go for our first break of the show. And we're going to hand over to the man that has delivered Tottenham Hotspur's first European trophy since 1984 in what was an absolutely fascinating post-match press conference, which is around kind of 10, 11 minutes. I know we've got nearly over 6,000 of you now coming in and watching us live. I mean, honestly, it is nearly 2 a.m. in the morning, so we can't thank you enough for all the support for the show. We're joined by the brilliant actors best in the land, Ramini, Darren Hartman, and the wonderful Miles at the Spurs Kings, who's really running the wheels in the background for us on this show. So look, we're going to go for our first break of this show. Keep liking, keep subscribing. We want to get this out to a far-wide Spurs audience. Run up the likes, run up the subscribes. Let's hear from Tottenham Hotspur's most recent European winning manager, Ange Postecoglou. Let's bring him in, and we'll be back after hearing from Ange.
Conference of the winning 2025 UEFA Europa League coach, Ange Postecoglou.
Thank you.
Ali, let's start us off.
Congratulations, Ange. I mean, you've told these players throughout they were going to do something special this season. How does it feel to see that realised?
Yeah, look, it's hard sort of to put into words the emotions. Super proud of the players. To quote my favourite Australian Prime Minister, Paul Keating, he said, after an unlikely victory, he said, this is one for the true believers. And this is certainly one for the true believers. And that means, an unbelievable group of players who never wavered, never lost faith in me and what we were doing. Unbelievable football staff led by brilliant coaches, people who work at the club, from board down, whether that's Lily Whitehouse or at the training ground, and supporters. I know people think I've got this sort of fractious relationship, but every supporter I ever bumped into was just so kind in reassuring me that, they believed in what I was doing. I never felt, I understand the disappointment we've put them through this year, particularly in the league, but just seeing them tonight, the impact it has on them. Some of them, it's obviously 17 years since our last trophy, 41 in Europe. Some of them have never had a night like this. So, but, it's a reward for them. And, finally to my beautiful wife and my boys and my family, my friends who, they're all my inspiration because I'm kind of the front man. It's easy for me to sort of take on the responsibility, but they've got no choice but to come along for the ride, and just seeing them out there now on the pitch, smiling faces, couldn't be happier.
Congratulations. I know you've not wanted to make this Europa League run about you, but is this your biggest achievement? You've had some amazing achievements in your career, but given the circumstances, given it sort of became this all or nothing match, is it your biggest achievement?
Yeah, look, I feel if I say that, then it diminishes, not for me, the other achievements, but the people I shared them with. But it's definitely been the toughest thing I've ever done, without a shadow of a doubt. And I knew that going into it. You know better than me that this club's had some unbelievable world-class coaches, world-class players, and they haven't had a night like this. So I knew what I was taking on. And it's fair to say that it's been really challenging because, wherever else I've had success by this stage, I've kind of had the faith and trust of everybody. And here it's been different. And I understand that's not a criticism. It's just, I think, because of the club and the way it's sort of its recent history or its history, I don't think they could always ever go all in on one person. And for me, that's always how it's worked well, when, people kind of back my vision. So, but within that, I think when we got to sort of the end of January, the end of the transfer window, and I kind of assessed our situation, I just made a decision there and then that this was the trophy we were going to go for. And, it probably was at odds with what other people at the club sort of believed at the time we should do. And that's understandable. But I just really believed we could win. We could win this. And sort of everything we've done since then, everything we've done at training, everything we've done in terms of the games, the teams I've selected, is about making sure when these games came around, the Europa games, that we're in the best possible condition to tackle them. And that's come at a cost for sure in the league, and I've got to take the responsibility for that. But I just felt like the end game of winning something was more important, and it was the only way I was going to do it.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
You've spoken about what a turning point this could be, the growth that the team can get from this victory. How hungry are you to drive this team forward, given the Champions League football next season? Yeah,
very, because we've got a really young group of players, and you can talk to them about success and what it means, but until they feel it, it doesn't become real. And I've got no doubt that all those boys tonight, having this feeling, will want this again. And to get it again, they're going to have to make similar sort of sacrifices. They've climbed the mountain now, so they know that what it takes to sort of get to where we are. And I think that does. It accelerates the opportunities to build a team that can be successful and competitive at the highest level for years to come. So, as I said yesterday, I still feel there's a lot of work to be done. I think that's quite obvious, but not as much work as people may think. People can bang on about our 20 league defeats and where we are, but they're missing the point of what we're trying to build here, or what I'm trying to do anyway. And I really feel that tonight can be a great platform for us to kick on.
You said a minute ago that at the end of the January window you decided full focus on the Europa League. Does that explain the really sort of ruthless, efficient style that we've seen overcome Alkmaar, Frankfurt, Bodo Glimt, and now tonight? And how did you find the players kind of bought into that when that was the plan?
No, that wasn't part of it. But I've always treated, I've had a lot of success in my career, and not just sort of winning leagues, but also, in Australia, I grew up playing finals football to win a championship. So knockout football is always different. All my teams have always played a little bit different in knockout games, because that you've got to have a real clear game plan. Big games come down to moments. You've got to limit the moments of the opposition. You've got to change your approach. And the players embrace that, because, that was always going to be our approach in Europe, and it's why we did well in the Carabao Cup as well. We beat some decent teams in the Carabao Cup, including City, including United, and we beat Liverpool in the first league, played a similar way. But also it helps that I've got, Van der Ven and Romero and Vicario and the Doggy and Porro, all these guys available. And again, that was part of the sort of mindset of making sure they were available for these big games. And I thought the lads handled the whole Europa sort of knockout stages, brilliantly. Knew what we had to do, were really efficient with what we did, and I think got the just rewards.
Hi, Ange. Well done. You mentioned a lot of people at the top there. Your dad's no longer with us, but what would he make of his son doing this, and what does it mean back in Australia as well?
Yeah, no, he's still with me, mate. He's his voice is in my head all the time, and as I get older, I look in the mirror, I see his face sometimes, which is frightening as it seems. He's with me all the time, mate. My dear mum's in Greece with my sister and my nephews. I'm sure they're over the moon. And it's massive in Australia and in Greece. I've got family in both countries and friends in both countries, and they've been along for the journey the whole way. And it's hard because I'm big enough and ugly enough to take whatever comes my way, but they get hurt when people sort of come at me and they pay the price, particularly, those closest to me, my beautiful family and my friends, and, they want to defend me. And, I keep telling them it's a small price to pay when you have nights like this. And I've been fortunate, I've had plenty of nights like this, and just seeing them tonight. And I know everyone in Australia, they would have got up early in the morning, they'll be buzzing, and people in Greece, and more importantly, the people here with me, it's another special night we share together.
Hi, Ants. Congratulations. You talk about backing your vision. I mean, how does a club let go of a manager who's just delivered them their first trophy in 41 years in European competition?
Look, I think I said yesterday, I'm pretty kind of, not relaxed is not the word, because I'd be disappointed if we couldn't continue on this path. But like I said, it's not a criticism. I understand why it would be difficult for a club like this to buy into one person's vision. I remember even when I signed, it was kind of, the club, I think even Daniel sort of said, we went after winners, it didn't work, and now we've got Ange. And, mate, I'm a winner. I've been a serial winner my whole career. It's what I've done more than anything else, and I know people talk about my football, which I'm very proud of, and I know people dismiss my achievements because, they didn't happen to happen on this side of the world. But for me, they're all hard-earned, and all I've done my whole career is win things. And but I understand, look, obviously the way things have gone in the league, people are rightly to be concerned about. Like I said, I don't think there's a true reflection of where we're at. But whatever happens, I said my own sort of belief in what I do doesn't waver, and I'll continue to kind of push on to do what I do.
Ange, well done. It was noticeable at the end, the players were celebrating with unbridled joy. You were standing back quietly. Is that just your style, or was there an element of relief as well?
Oh, there's huge relief. I mean, you ask any manager, and I'm telling you that's the biggest feeling, because you carry the weight of responsibility. I mean, I think this is maybe our 59th game or 60th game this year. That means me and Anthony have been in front of you guys 120 times, plus the extras that we do. I mean, that's probably 150, 160 times I've been a spokesman for this football club this year. And I know everything I say is important. Fair to say I don't always get it right. So all that kind of responsibility weighs on your shoulders. And so it is, it's relief, but also I'm a lot older than those guys, mate. And I've learned to understand that what makes nights like these memorable is to remember them. So I kind of stand back and just watch everyone else enjoy it, and that's all I need.
James, final one, please.
Congratulations, Ange. I know you said you're sort of relaxed about the situation, but can you just give us an idea of what the next few days are like? Is there a meeting planned with Daniel or with the hierarchy? Because you must want some clarity one way or the other.
No planned meetings. I haven't had any discussions. No one's spoken to me about anything. Maybe they felt like they don't need to, or they were waiting for this game. Look, what I do know is that I'm going to go back to my hotel room, get my family and friends together, open up a nice bottle of scotch, have a couple of quiet ones, get ready for a massive parade on Friday, play Brighton on Sunday, really important, our last home game, we want to finish strong, and then Monday I'm going on holidays because with my beautiful family because I deserve it, and que sera, sera.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there you go. That was Tottenham Hotspur's European winning manager, Ange Postecoglou. He always wins a trophy in his second season. I mean, that is officially the coldest quote in the 24-25 season, isn't it? I mean, wow. Wow. And I just got to say, there's an influx, I've got to say, of Aussies that are waking up. I've got to say, in Melbourne, around the world, that are joining this show. You know, look, there's been times this season I've carried half of them on my back, quite literally. They've been on my case throughout a lot of times this season. And I think, look, that man has just given me one of the greatest footballing nights for me, my family. And it's, you know, it's really hard when you share those moments as Tees you did with family and friends, Dow, as well, and even Miles, you and Ash, you know, when you have those moments as football fans and you take out the equation of the Premier League this season, it's, you know what, there will be a lot of questions that have to be asked. But I think what you have to say is that I've got to come to you on the manager. I have to come to all of you on the manager. You know, this man that has delivered Tottenham this European trophy, when you consider he moved to Australia at the age of 5, a place that didn't support football as strongly as other sports. Despite this, he broke into top-flight professional management, delivered silverware at South Melbourne, Brisbane Roar, Yokohama, F. Marinos, Celtic. That kid from Melbourne has now won Spurs' first major trophy in 17 years. That's the story, isn't it? I mean, that is the story. We'll come over to you, Dow, on that, because, again, a very passionate, insightful, fascinating press conference from Ange Postecoglou, who has told TNT Sports, I am building a team for 5 or 6 years. And he was adamant. He wants to stay. He doesn't want to go. And this is just the beginning, Dow.
The man says, I'm a winner. He said, I'm a winner. And he is a winner. And I need that. Someone's got to get me the T-shirt. I need that quote on a T-shirt. I need it in my life. Whoever can do it, make it happen. Find me. I need it in my life. He's a winner. Today is just about celebrating him and the team and the achievement. He said, I will win. He said it. And you know what? It was so difficult for that presser for them to say, congratulations, well done. It sounded like it came through gritted teeth. It was so hard for them to say, well done, Ange. Well done, Tottenham. And they always wanted to go back to the narrative of, is there a meeting tomorrow? Are you going to be called into the office and told you're fired? Not tomorrow, because you're going to drink a bottle of scotch, as he said, celebrate, get on a flight, and be on the parade. He'll be top of the bus. And you know what I love about Ange? Is that energy of when they tried to go, why didn't you celebrate? And why wouldn't you? He was a proud man. He watched his players enjoying the moment, and he stood back and let them have that. That says so much about his integrity, his character, and the man that we have at the helm right now. Right now. That's what he says. That's how I operate. And today, let's not forget, that image there is done by the squad. The players were doing that. That wasn't Ange.
Explain for listeners an audio, Dale, what they're seeing.
So, it's a picture. It's the coolest picture of Ange. Glasses on. He got the Europa League trophy in his hand. And it says, I don't usually win things. I always win things in my second year. Always is in capital. Capitals. Always. And that's being held by Maddison and Reguilon. Now, this has been put together by the players. This isn't Ange driven. This is the players. We all heard the narrative. We all heard the mockery and the weight, the anticipation that the press was waiting to hang him on those words. Now they've got to celebrate him. Now we've got to celebrate him. He said, I'm a winner, and he is. And you know who else won? Our whole squad. This Europa Championship wasn't won by 12 players, 15 players. Our whole squad, up to our third choice goalkeeper, played in this tournament. Let's remember how depleted our squad has been. So many individuals have got minutes. Academy boys have scored and been a part of this. This is a whole Spurs achievement. It's bigger than what we've done before. This is monumental for the youngsters, for the veterans in Sun getting that trophy. It does so much for the mentality of this club. And people are not going to see that and not understand that. But when you're in it like we are as fans, we can see how deep this goes. This is going to live long in their memories, in fans' memories, and in Ange's memory.
Yeah.
I will buy him a bottle of scotch. Watch on Friday. I'm getting a bottle of scotch on that bus. You watch me get it up there. A bottle of scotch will reach the big Aussie. I'll make it happen. I'll watch. Like Barcelona when they're catching and you're catching burgers, I'll be making a Scotland on that bus. Mark my words. Come on, you Spurs.
Dale, just on Mikey Moore, you brought him up there. Mikey Moore is the youngest ever player to win the Europa League. 17 years, 283 days old. Remarkable. Putting the focus
he had his hand on that trophy tonight.
Yeah, unbelievable.
If I come in as well on that, Rick.
Yeah,
please, teach, please.
Because you asked me before, what you think this means for us as a team, and I was still so awash with emotion. And again, I followed Darren, and he stirred it all up again. So I just wanted to talk about emotion. But I think what it means for us, I think this is quite a seminal moment in the history of this current squad, because we are a particularly young team. We really are. And so to segue from Mikey Moore being the youngest ever, oh, what a lovely message, being the youngest ever winner of the Europa League, I think is really pertinent. And so what will it potentially do? Well, if you think about all of these young men who have been under enormous pressure, probably from about the age of about 7 or 8. And again, people who watch and listen to this program are really well educated in not only just this team, but in the sport generally. And so, they understand that these kids get signed to a team at about 7 or 8 years old. And every year they get called into, various offices, and they sit down with their parents. They say, we're going to give your boy another year. And then you do it again next year. We're going to give him another year. And then they get to about sort of 13 or 14. And if they're not kind of knocking on the door of potentially being into the first team in the next year or two, they're probably done. And so for their delicate young minds that aren't formed yet, certainly not by their early 20s, certainly not by their teens, it's a very precarious time for them mentally. And so to win a prodigious title against Manchester United, I understand it's not the Manchester United of old, but to best just that badge, the Manchester United badge, right? The Cockerel was victorious over the Red Devils tonight. That is, yes, Darren, that is going to be a really seminal moment in the makeup of their mentality. And so next season, I think we will see a marked uptick in their performances. Yes, Perth, WA. My mother's from Perth. Big up Perth, WA, Spurs fans. My sister lives there and she's watching with her kids right now. Big up Perth fans. And so I think that it's a really, really special, dare I say, pivotal moment in the development of those young players. And we were talking again off air how Bissouma just seems to have grown up tremendously over the last 3 or 4 games. So perhaps this is a pivotal season for him as well.
And so on that point, Teach, that you come back on that.
Yeah, please, Rick.
You come back on that point you just said there. I mean, he was often reminiscing of what I was making the point. Uncle Ange. He's been a dad to the group, and this is the thing, isn't it? There's been a lot of talk this season, and I've said it at times. In certain games, you feel, has he lost that dressing room? But when you see what he's done, and you see the celebrations afterwards, and you've got Pedro Porro on his back, and the scenes with the players. You know what? Again, it's such a story, isn't it? Greece, Melbourne, Brisbane, Japan, Scotland. Used to watch these games with his dad. There's such kind of moments where you look at him as a person, and I think there's one thing you can say is that I think he's a thoroughly decent human being. I think there's no doubt about it. There's been definitely concerns in the fan base about him tactically, but this is the thing. He's just shown us over the latter stages of the Europa League tactically how he can get it right. And look, those questions will come for another night.
It helps to galvanise the confidence in the style of football that he plays, which is very high risk. And so if you're playing high risk, high reward football, having a more galvanised belief to gain that confidence, I think this could be really quite pivotal for us. And dare I say, for Manchester United to get to the final against a club like Tottenham, who they, in that very smug, terribly arrogant and really entitled way that they do, you know, Manchester United don't lose to Tottenham Hotspur in finals. Well, you did. And so I think they're really in trouble. And I'm delighted that Tottenham showed great steel and great tenacity and great fortitude tonight, and just dispatched them, not with ease, but
professional, wasn't it? Professional job. I mean, we know we're gonna come on to Vicario and obviously Van der Ven later in this show, but I mean, there's been pivotal moments in that game that has definitely, you know, taken it where it has got to, with Spurs winning this European trophy. I'm not getting bored of saying that. I just keep saying that. Miles, coming over to you on that point, you know, Ange in this bloody second season, you know, we've had it rammed down our throats from, you know, whether it be journalists, media outlets, other opposing fans. And when you see the celebrations, you know, what a crazy campaign it's been with so many lows. But to go and do it where so many other managers have failed, you know, he succeeded like he said he would. I mean, it is incredible, really, isn't it? And we know there's going to be a lot of conversations that have to be had in due course, but it's a very special week. You know, there's no doubt about it. That parade on Friday, Miles, I mean, he is going to be... What is he going to be treated to at that parade? He's going to get treated to a lot of adulation and love that will hopefully, you know, with all due respect, we know he's taken a lot of criticism at times through certain sections of the media, through the fan base as well. It's going to be an intriguing next 48, 72 hours, isn't it, Miles, in terms of what does happen there? Because, you know, I've remained steadfast in my approach, you know, with regards to Ange, that maybe he's not the right manager for me. But I also appreciate there's a lot of fans out there, as I said, at the touching point of this subject. You know, this man has delivered not only a European trophy, but has given a lot of Tottenham fans the best night of their lives, with family, with friends. That is priceless, and that is something you can't recreate. You know, I said this earlier, me and Darryl got our kids on the pitch. Tej was on the pitch earlier at the stadium. It's going to be a very intriguing next 3 or 4 days, isn't it, Miles, in terms of how this does go, because he's come out publicly and now said he doesn't want to leave. He wants to stay, and he uses those words where he feels this is just the beginning. And had we not had the Europa League run that we had, in obviously combination with the Carabao Cup run, he feels the league season would have been so different.
Yeah, and do you know what? I love this little dig at Levy as well. Like, I don't think anyone noticed that when he went, I hired win now managers. Now I've got Ange. And Ange's like, hold on, what are you trying to say here? I'm a win now manager. I win stuff. And he's proven everybody. He said when Sky Sports asked him that questions, he was right. He was, like he said, he was stating a fact. It did put a lot of pressure on him, but maybe he needed that pressure. And maybe that's why we saw a complete different team, like you said, in the Cups compared to what we saw in the league games. And fair play to him. He delivered. He is the reason why we're all here tonight. Him, the players, and everybody are the reason why we're here tonight at 2:15 in the morning UK time, talking about bloody Tottenham Hotspur. And none of us don't even care. We've got over 6,000 nearly watching as well, live. And I'm sitting there going, because of this football club and because of him, he's delivered on the promise that we all kind of thought, all right. And we went into this game really confident because it was Manchester United. The one thing, we might have lost more games than them this season, but we've definitely won more games than them in the league. And we've beaten them 3 times. We were confident. And even I woke up this morning, and usually I remember Champions League, I was completely like all over the place. I was calm. I was literally just like, you know what, we've got this. I believe in them. And they've just given me that season, and I believed in them today. And the fact that they believed in themselves and I knew he was going to deliver something. Yes, there's been moments this season where I've been. Let's go back to the Leicester game where I think a lot of us.
Well, we know that show. I mean, it was
hard times.
Yeah.
But there was light at the end of the tunnel, and this is it. This is that moment that we now proudly get to celebrate, not with just us four on the screen, with, like you said, with our friends, our family,
of course,
the audience, and whatnot. And just to put it out there, me and my cousin, he lives in Manchester at the moment. We barely, we miss each other. We play phone tennis all the time, but we're always on the first thing he done tonight. I haven't spoken to him for months, right? But we know how each other's getting on. I haven't spoken to him for months. And literally he rings me and just says, we did it. That's all he said to me. We finally did it. And I'm the reason why he supports Tottenham. Right. And he used to play professional football as well. So it's kind of for him to think the first person to ring is me.
Yeah.
That's how you know it just brings everyone together. So look, it's a great night. And I'll thank Ange forever. As the British like to say, if he ever comes into a pub, I'll buy him a pint. And you know what? For all of Australia, you can have the next Ashes. You can have the next 3. It's fine.
But I must just say again, I know this show has brought a lot of intrigue to the Aussies out there. And, again, it's an interesting situation because that Aussie mentality, which I know there's a lot of Australians watching the show and those who listen back to the show, they've got such a belief in everything they do in a lot of sports. And I know I've been called a pommy. I've been called a pommy a lot of times. I've been called that pommy. Why don't you believe Sacks? Why don't you believe Sacks? What's wrong with you? I think as Tottenham fans, we've taken a lot of hurt over the last, as we know, 17, 18 years and beyond that for a lot of fans, and I think I have to say Lee McQueen, and I got to say, there's so many people.
I was going to go there, Rick. That's why
I know. I'm so sorry, Dale. You can take it down if you want this. Lee McQueen, crackers out in Bilbao, they are. We've got so much, Georgia Killier, bless him. So many people that I can name so many out there. Mitch is out there. Davina's out there. So many that are out there. Abby Summers is out there. There's so many out there that have got such an affinity and belief in this club. But Lee's a very special individual that manifests certain things. And Lee said to us, I don't know. I think when we got to the final, he's like, look, just park everything to one side and just manifest we're going to believe. And to be fair, I don't think any of us, I don't know if you guys agree, I don't think I've actually thought of the consequence that we not won it. It was all about we're going to win it. And I actually felt that in the stadium, there was a genuine belief, and I'm sure there's those in Bilbao as well that felt that. Is it that Aussie mentality, Dale, that rubs off on the squad with Ange? I mean, also a very unique stat, I've got to say. He became the first Spurs manager without a 0-0 draw in his first 100 games of a spell at a league club in all comps since Bradford City's Bob Brocklebank from the 1961-63 season. I mean, this guy is breaking all the records. And a reminder, as we said, that record at the top of the show, he's beaten Manchester United 4 times, which in the modern era is absolutely unheard of. It's going to be, do you agree, though, a fascinating next 3 or 4 days that awaits us now with Tottenham and what they do about this managerial situation? Because you mentioned it at the end there. He's asked about the fact, is there a meeting booked with Daniel Levy? He says no. He's on the parade on Friday. He's got the Brighton game on the Sunday. Is it a case of wait and see, but also to celebrate what this man's achieved?
It is going to be wait and see. I know Christina's going to be livid because you said Australian. She's going to mention the Greek side of it.
We have to mention Greek. Of course, listen, Greek Australian, of course.
Livid.
Of course, of course.
And I think he's a winner. That's the thing about Ange. He said it there. His track record proves it. He has a winning mentality. And that's what he's rubbing off on the players. And today, they're winners too. This group of Tottenham players, Tottenham individuals are winners. And as you said, Rick, it was really interesting to be around so many Spurs fans on a final. And I felt like we spoke before about the Champions League final, feeling like we were bridesmaids and Liverpool were the bride. And we didn't really believe we were going to win it because we won in the semis. That year we peaked in the game before. This time, I felt like we arrived to go to our wedding. We all arrived going, we was all in white. We arrived.
This is our time. This is our time.
Yeah, we weren't the bridesmaids. And today we made someone else catch the bouquet. We threw it in the air and we celebrated. And that was the feeling today. I felt that. And I felt that going into the stadium. I didn't even, I'm gonna tell you how confident I was. I parked my car strategically. I knew there was going to be a parade. I knew Spurs fans were going to be all up the high road.
And they were. And
I
they
parked
were.
so far away to do the walk. I said, when I got my car, I said, I'm parking it here because all of our fans will be on the street after the game. So we're going to walk with all of them. And then by the time we get tired, we're going to be at the car. And so said, so done. That's what happened. And I think that's what was happening today. Everyone believed in it. The players believed in it and believed in it. And we got what we deserved. And I'm going to keep saying that. Spurs fans, we deserve this. Don't let anyone burst your bubble. And if you want something to make you feel good, look at official Spurs. Look at the content they're putting out tonight. They're giving you gold. They are giving you absolute gold. If you're not a banter person, if you're one of the people that is a little bit, I don't know how to do this, I don't like doing it, you're not confrontational like that, you're not braggadocious, look at the Spurs site, be braggadocious tomorrow.
Yeah.
Get in trouble at work. Send your kids to school with a Tottenham shirt on. Be troublemakers. Be outrageous tomorrow. Be outrageous.
I have to say, though, I hope Spurs official forgive me for saying this because, with all due respect, I mean, Dale was on the pitch, but at the very end, I
weren't on the pitch. That wasn't me.
their persuasion at the end of trying to get people off the pitch was, when everyone get off the pitch, we've got a Premier League game on Sunday. I mean, if there's a message...
And this is what they heard coming back to them. We don't care, so we don't care. We don't care, so we don't care. I was in the stands.
If there's a message that you want to try and get the fans off the pitch, given the fact that we're, wacka, hey, 17th in the league, we don't care, right? We're 17th in the Premier League, and your persuasion to try and get Tottenham fans off the turf at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is, we've got a Premier League game on Sunday. We'll just stay here then till Sunday. We'll just stay here. We don't want to come back to the Premier League. We just want to stay in Europe. And Tej, just a final part on Ange, legend of the football club that he is, Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale was speaking after to TNT Sports where Gareth was making the point that he says Ange will go down in history as a Spurs legend and does think the Spurs board have got a very difficult decision to make now with regards to his future. He said he's won a trophy. He's the first to do so in such a long time. The board have some big, big decisions to make. And I reaffirm that point. Ange told TNT, I am building a team for 5 or 6 years. And as we've said, he's made it clear he wants to be here. He doesn't want to go. I mean, for two guys in Dow and Tej that featuring the topic of drama in the acting world, I mean, what does this movie script look like, Tej, in these next 48, 72 hours? It's going to be intriguing to see how this club approach this. Can you sack a manager that has delivered you our worst Premier League season in the history of, the Premier League infancy, which we know, but has delivered you the club's first, trophy in 17 years, their first European trophy in 41 years. Is it only Tottenham that could get themselves into this situation? I've got to say, with no obvious managerial candidate on the horizon. It's going to be intriguing, isn't it? Also, the return of Fabio Paratici. God, it's going to be an interesting next few days, isn't it? To see how they work this out.
Yeah, fascinating theatre, isn't it? It's in a lot of ways, this is why Tottenham is this sort of duplicitous, wonderful on one hand and just woeful on the other, and gives so much and takes it away. But I don't think we could have it any other way, could we? I mean, it's just the most tumultuous, wonderfully addictive relationship that we have with this club, and the insanity surrounding Ange is, yet another fascinating twist in the saga that is Tottenham Hotspur. I think Darren and I have kind of, it'd be a wonderful film to be in. I look forward to playing Ange in like 20 years or something.
That's all.
Oh my days! I just, what? It's just going to be absolutely fascinating, isn't it, what these next few days does hold. But
me, man, you can't let him go. You can't. You can't. Who's done this? Who's done this?
I've got memoirs from Jason McGovern that I'm yet to reply to. If I tell you what he's racked up for me to go back to, and Dale's laughing.
Yeah.
I mean, T's very lucky with some of the WhatsApp groups he's been involved in. He'll get to know Jason on another level when he sees some of the comments that's coming from Jason. I've got essays upon essays from Jason.
Yeah.
Who, bless his heart, it's going to be a very intriguing next few days. But we should.
And let's see what happens, man.
Absolutely.
Him and Paratici might sit down and, hit it off like, whoever. Like,
and not look at the league table, possibly.
It might just be.
Got it.
We're champions of Europe. Who cares? We don't care. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care.
Exactly. And
let's
now
not worry about the manager.
He's like,
champions.
could you go and get me that person? And they go, yes. Could you go and get me that person? And they go, yes.
It's gonna be fascinating. Box office. It's
Watch
Tottenham.
this space. Yeah, watch this
Tottenham.
space.
It's Tottenham. Look, we'll be with you every step of the way on Last Word on Spurs. We are going to go for our next break of the show for our listeners and audio, and we're going to turn our attention to the captain of the football club, Heung-Min Son, who after 10 years, a decade, rightly now says he is a Tottenham legend after lifting the Europa League with Tottenham and ending our 17-year wait for a trophy. Before that, we're going to hear from the acrobatic Mickey van der Ven, who somehow kept the ball out of the Tottenham net. And I think for many out there, when they saw that moment from Mickey van der Ven, where quite simply, somehow, some way, he denied Manchester United a goal that looked so obvious on the scene, he also wrote himself into Tottenham folklore. We're going to go for our next break of the show. We're going to bring in the thoughts of Mickey van der Ven. I've got to say, we're approaching 2:30 a.m. UK time here. I want to say a massive thank you again to our wonderful panel that have been us throughout the season. Marlon at the Spurs Kings, who's my psychic for this one, riding on about 14-hour worth of Spurs content. We love him very much. We're joined by best actors in the land, Hartman, TJ. We're all getting together on Saturday for a massive, massive party. I've got a wedding in there as well. God help me. I could be divorced on the same night as Spurs, winning a trophy in the same week. God help us. I tell you, it's going to be an interesting next few days in all of our households. Look, keep liking, keep subscribing, run up the likes, send this out to a worldwide Spurs audience. Let's bring in Tottenham Hotspurs, Mickey van der Ven, who becomes another one of our members of squad that has secured himself a European trophy. Let's hear from Mickey, and we'll be back after this very, very short break.
You've achieved something that some of the Tottenham players have never experienced. How do you feel now? And do you appreciate it? Or what do you have in your mind right now?
Unbelievable feeling, of course. It's been a tough season for all of us. In the league, we didn't perform really well. Everybody was doubting us. But I think we all proved them wrong. And today we're here, we're lifting the trophy, and we made some history for the club. So that's of course an unbelievable feeling.
Congratulations, Mickey. How have you managed to keep the faith throughout this season, and how much has the manager been a key part of that?
Of course, what I said, like the season was so tough, like in the league. But every time when we played in Europe, we showed our quality and we showed how we can play. And also what you said, the gaffer was a big role in this success. He kept believing in us. The whole staff kept believing in us, and he just made sure we stayed together. And we as a group, we stayed together also, and we kept believing. And till the day of today, we kept believing that we could create history with this group, and we did it today.
Congratulations, Mickey. The manager's just said he wants to build on the success next season. Do you feel, as a group of players, that you can have more success under this manager going forward?
Of course, we want to build on. And to be honest, now we just want to celebrate and we want to enjoy this moment. But of course, we want to do something special also next year. And of course, every year you want to be successful and every year you want to achieve something. But really haven't thought about it, to be honest. But what I said, now we just want to celebrate and we want to do beautiful stuff now.
Hi, Mickey. Congratulations. You guys have played an amazingly efficient, pragmatic game in the last few rounds to win this competition. Can you explain what specifically the plan was and how the manager convinced you to play this way?
of course you have a plan beforehand, but everybody changed because of course you can say what you expect from the game, but the game is always going to be different. So we wanted to play our own game, and you saw the first half, they created some chances, we created some chances. The game was, I think, a bit 50-50, and we scored our goal. And then the second half, of course, they pressed us more backwards. I think that's normal also when you're 1-0 up and they needed to score. And I think we defended it really well. I have to think about like the header from Shaw and then the header from Højlund. But I think we defended it really well, and we kept the clean sheet again. Like what you said, also in the last couple of games in Europe, we proved everybody that we are a really good side, and we played so well the last. Of course, like the AZ Alkmaar game away was a tough game, but all the other games we performed so well, and we showed everybody that what we could do, and we did the same today in the final.
Hi, Mickey. Congratulations. You said before the game that you wanted to silence the banter people. Is the banter, does that now stop? And are Tottenham now no longer a banter club?
Probably they will continue, but I don't care anymore. We proved them wrong, and we won a trophy, so they can say whatever they want. And we lifted that trophy today, and that's the most important for us and for the fans and also for the club.
Congratulations, Mickey. Can you talk us through that goal line clearance? That looked painful as well.
I can tell you it was painful also. I think Vic came out and the ball bounced on his head. I don't know how, to be honest, but the ball came to Højlund, and I was like, I need to go to the goal line, because if he had it over Vic, then it's going to be a goal. And I saw the ball coming, and to be honest, the ball was high, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But I just tried everything I could, and I saved it. And it was all worth it because we kept the clean sheet. Some back issues afterwards, but it's all worth it.
George, final question, please.
Hi, Mickey. Congratulations. The manager said back in September he always wins things in his second season, and he still believes he can. Kind of now that you've actually done it, what did the squad kind of make of that at the time, and did that give you belief sort of during this run that if he can say that out in public, we can definitely do it?
The gaffer said this, and I think he proved he's done it. So he won again something in his second year, and everybody that was doubting him, everybody that was doubting us, we all proved them wrong this year. And of course, it was a really tough season in the league. We didn't perform well, and it was really poor from our side. Of course, I can say that. I can't say something else than that. But in the league, in Europe, we did so well. And to be honest, I'm really happy that he said I win always things in my second year. We made sure he could keep saying this. So we're happy for him. We're happy for the team, and that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. That concludes tonight's press conferences. Congratulations once again to Tottenham Hotspur.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, I don't know if anyone actually still believes it's actually happening. It's crazy. Listen, welcome back to Last Word on Spurs. Over 6,000 of you watching the show live. Thank you so much for all incredible support as we are reporting on Tottenham Hotspur. Don't scratch your eyes. You can now blink twice. Tottenham have won the Europa League. They have indeed. And before we do talk about our captain that has helped us deliver that, let's take, look, I've got to say, there's thousands of comments in this show. Some of taking the time off to actually put a donation in. So let's take out some of the comments that we've got here. So many. Brock says here, I've watched Last Word on Spurs for over 7 years now, and I'm so pleased for everyone on this show. Love you guys and Coys. Justin says, love this show, team. Spurs fan from Melbourne. Watched it with hundreds of fans at 5 a.m. kickoff. Best day in 30 years of following Spurs. Aussie and Rory Ferguson reminding us Spurs are going to play in the Super Cup. Chris Hamilton says, 4 a.m. wake up in South Korea for my son. He's 6. And it was so worth it. What a team effort, but especially delighted for Sonny. What a special smile. Jack says, can we do more of these, please, at 2 a.m.? The results mean more than you believe, Tottenham High Road was cinema. Would we describe it trying to get away from Tottenham High Road now and Siege? I mean, cinema. It was one. That's definitely one thing. Love your work, Captain Ricky, and the Last Word on Spurs crew. Designated Hotspur, big up panel, big up Marlon. Yeah, big up Marlon. It's big up. Resilience, Heart, Levy back in with quality. And I tell you what, so many comments here. King Hoddle, I've got to say, King Hoddle's been I don't think I've ever seen King Arnold miss a last one on Spurs show. And yes, he's been on my back at certain times with regards to Ange. He said, Ricky, we are joint second on the all-time Europa Cup, UEFA Cup winners list with 3 wins. And Robert says, my eyes have seen the glory of the cups at White Hart Lane. My eyes have seen the glory of the cups at White Hart Lane. One man that was able to see the cup up close, personal, and the emotion at full time that Heung-Min Son showed with Rodrigo Bentancur, who just grabbed his cheeks. That's a man that's been starving, absolutely starving for success, starving absolutely now, having a feast, and the man who has won the Europa League and lifted that trophy high aloft. In the same season, of course, Harry did it. Sonny's done it for Tottenham. And I've got to start, if I can, with you on this, Dow. You know, everyone else, they've moved on. Managers changed. Teammates have left. The squad has been turned over. And this man has had many opportunities to go, but Heung-Min Son stayed. He's been there through the thick, through the tough, and stepped up when we've needed him most, and never stopped giving everything for the badge. Even in the most difficult spells, his commitment to Spurs has been absolutely clear, and he now becomes the first Tottenham captain to lift the trophy in 17 years. And I think we all agree it couldn't happen to a nicer, a better bloke. And I think we all just say, thank you, Captain Heung-Min Son. And what a moment for him, Tej, right, to deliver a Europa League for our fan base.
Phenomenal moment. Absolutely phenomenal. And you know what, Tej? I'm gonna let you go first because your son, you're wearing his shirt, Tej. I'm gonna give you the floor.
Tej, go first. Go on, take it away.
With the assist, thank you, brother. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, we all feel the same way about Sonny, and loyalty is just such a rare commodity in life, and it seems to become rarer with each passing generation. And in sport, I mean, it's the most precious of precious gems, and he is a precious gem of a footballer, of a Tottenham legend, and of a gentleman. You know, I'm really proud that we have a real gentleman who wears the captain's armband for our club, and my goodness, he was so deserving. And that absolute outpouring of pure, unadulterated emotion, you couldn't script it. The greatest actor in the world couldn't have played the role. Look at him. Bless
the tears with James Maddison. The tears.
And again, for people who are listening on audio, I mean, it really is worth just having a little cheeky Google of you know, Heung-Min Son at the end of this game. I think that's Maddison he's cuddling there, isn't he? I mean, yes. You know, tear-stained cheeks, and just he looks depleted and just so completely awash with emotion. It means so much to him. We've talked on this show before. This panel has talked on this show before how he almost becomes a victim of his own emotion. We had this conversation recently, I think, it was the 4 of us. I'm sure it was us. And we were saying that I remember you saying, Dee, as well, he cares too much. You know, he loves us so much that it almost is his undoing at times. And I made the analogy of the prize fighter. You know, like when you get into the ring, you have to be a neutral. You can't hate your opponent, love your opponent. You have to be on neutral and just go about your business. And he can't turn it off. The love and the passion is real, and he's connected to each and every one of us. And like I said, I bought this shirt when it came out. It's been in the plastic until tonight. And I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for his family. And for all of those people that said he's only in the team to sell shirts to Korean fans, that is an outrageous thing to say about a loyal servant and an absolutely world-class footballer. So congratulations, Captain. And we are so very thankful to you, man. Yeah. So thankful.
Just honestly, isn't it? The thing is, I'll come to you, Miles, and I will close on Dow with regards to Sonny, because, you know, we mentioned the fact that he's shown such a deep, abiding loyalty to Tottenham through the thick and the thin. When you now go over actually 11 years, he's signed contracts when the club has been, let's be honest about it, in turmoil, and frankly shown such loyalty when the best career and even financial prospects would maybe have pointed another way. And his reward is being the Spurs captain, the first Spurs captain in 17 years to lift the trophy, Miles. I mean, what can you say that we haven't said already about Heung-Min Son and his loyalty to this club and the fact that he is the man, he is the captain to break the trophy drought?
Yeah, now I look at it and go, there was many Spurs fans actually putting Son ahead of themselves, because you heard Spurs fans saying, I want Sonny to win this. It's not for, I celebrate later, but Sonny, he's given us loyalty, he's given us moments, he's given us everything. Blood, sweat, tears. And it kind of reminded me, when I think he had to go play in the Olympics for South Korea, and it was meant that he didn't have to go and join the army for the 2 years, and which meant we didn't have to lose him. It felt a lot like that today as well, that this was the last chance saloon for him to win a trophy for Spurs. And you can see the emotion must have been pouring through him. And I think for a lot of Spurs fans, even the ones that have turned on him, will be a hardened person not to say that is the moment we've been waiting for. And the fact we could give it to him and like you said, with Harry Kane leaving, after he said, the club is going in the wrong direction. And, Harry Kane was right. I'm not going to sit there and say Harry Kane was wrong in what he said. But for Son to be able to go and lift it, and at probably our worst moment in the league, but actually is a cup team, we've done well this year, especially after what happened last year, with the other way around. So for me and everyone would be pleased for Son. And I think a lot of people, especially the Koreans, they wanted Son to leave. They got to the point where they were like, do a Harry Kane and leave, because they just didn't see us winning the trophy either. And actually, this just brings it all back together. And I can imagine right now when Son goes back to Korea in the summer.
Oh my, wow!
Oh my,
it's going to be incredible, isn't it? It's going to be incredible.
Oh my God! I wish I could go with him. I just want to be there. I wish I could go with him just to bring it all in and feel it. Because
it's going to be phenomenal, isn't it?
He's not just the Korea's captain. He is now a European champion.
Yeah,
that Korea haven't had since.
Also in a culture where loyalty and honour is absolutely integral.
I've got to say, I know you know what? It's gonna say, on that point, Dow. I'm gonna have to make that point. I know we've got a lot of avid South Korean followers of this show. The show is dubbed in Korea as well, I've got to say. So, again, shout out to Sunmo Lee. I've got to say, Sunmo Lee, bless him, who does so much over there in Korea. Has supported the show a lot. I've got to say a massive thank you to Sungmo. And the fact of the matter is, when you think about it, Dow, he was asked to TNT again, which will feed in for us as an audio in this show, around the fact that after 10 years at Tottenham, is he now able to say he's a legend? He said, look, let's just say I can finally say I'm a legend of this football club. And he refused to allow himself to have that title until he won. And Dow, he's now finally done it.
He has done it. And like I said, he deserves it. And football is an interesting game. And it's like a film right now, because you think about how the season played out and also what's happened with other people's successes. Harry Kane this year finally won a trophy. And, when he won that, Heung-Min Son would have been one of the first people on the phone congratulating him and telling him well done. And now Harry's returning that call tonight or tomorrow. But also, Miles, I see the face, but check this one. And it's going to be bittersweet for Harry Kane. It's going to be so bittersweet because he finally won something. And in the same year when he does this, Spurs do this. That's going to be so bittersweet. For us fans, it's just a beautiful day. But for someone like Kane, it's bittersweet. But for someone like Son, he is our captain. He is a legend. There was also a moment that many people may have missed. I just got it sent to me.
Please. Yeah.
Our co-captain, Maddison.
Yes.
He got asked to do an interview tonight. And he heard it was with Mr. Roy Keane. Yep. And he jumped on camera for it. And ruined Roy Keane just with his energy and the celebration. And I'm loving that I've been one who's questioned where our leaders have been this year. And today, our leaders look like that. The image that we can see on our screen kissing trophies, our leaders raising trophies above their heads in celebration, holding that aloft for us as fans. Spurs are winners. We are winners. That has been something that has been thrown at us as a way to knock our confidence, knock our joy, mock our club, that we're not winners. We've been winners in the past. We are now winners in the present. As crackers will say, when was the last time Spurs won something? Yesterday. Yesterday.
Or
That's when
Jason,
we
that
won.
comes on here and says, Jason, the 17, 18 trophies that we have got, don't forget those. We are a trophy-winning club.
We are a history of winners, and we
Yeah.
won yesterday.
Yeah.
That's when we last won. That's a great place to be. And Son is our captain, and yesterday he lifted that trophy. What a beautiful feeling.
Honestly.
I haven't seen it yet. What a beautiful feeling.
Just on James Maddison, because you brought him up there, I've got to just squeeze in that interview that he gave. He said, look, as you mentioned, Edel, I wasn't going to do any interviews, but I heard Roy Keane was in the studio. And when I joined Spurs, everyone made the jokes, he's retired from winning trophies. I told my brother and my dad, I'm going to lift the trophy for Tottenham. The gaffer took us to the place at the ground where they have all the photos of the teams that have won. They're all in black and white, and they're old. He told us everything we do is about getting on that wall. And so we did. It's chilling when I read that. It's chilling when I read that. So you get spine tingles when you're reading such comments. And again, listen on audio, we'll hear those words from James Maddison. But, wow. I'm sorry, guys, I have to do this. We do have to go for our final break of this show. I know people want this to go on forever. They don't want to wake up. They want this to go on forever. But we're not, unfortunately, AI models. We are human beings. We're
not getting crackers on. Ain't crackers and Lee joining us? What happened? I thought that was the buy-in. We're all on to that. You're meant to be joining us from Bilbao.
Listen, we're going to see if we can. I don't know where those guys are. They're more than going to jump in if we can get a message out to them. I think somewhere Crackers is in a camper van at 3 a.m. in the woodland forest somewhere. God help him in Bilbao. And I don't think we can broadcast what he might be up to with Lee McQueen, can I add? That definitely won't be broadcastable on this show. But my God, look, we're going to go into that last break of the show. Let's hear from Tottenham's goal scorer. There's a debate about if he's a goal scorer or not, but Brennan Johnson is Tottenham, we believe, goal scorer of the game. I'm getting nods from the panel. That's how much we've been able to watch it back. Yeah, I'm getting nods. Let's hear from Brennan Johnson as we go into this final break of this show where this show at someone has to end, and we don't want it to. Let's hear from Brennan Johnson.
Brennan, thank you so much for joining us. That is probably the most beautiful goal I think I've ever seen you score.
Yeah, I'd agree on that. I have no idea what happened, but the ball went back in the back of the net, so I couldn't care less.
What does it mean to you to see this behind you? Let's just take a look.
It means everything, honestly. Ever since I joined the club, I just thought, this club is way too good to have not won a trophy in so long, and to be part of the team that's won a major competition, it feels unbelievable.
Did you feel ahead of the game? I mean, you guys looked so calm and so present and so ready. Did you feel that we were going to do it tonight?
Yeah, I think we always had that underlying confidence. I mean, it's a final, you never know what's going to happen when it gets Man United. Their history speaks for itself, but to a man, I believed in our team that we'd get the job done, and I'm so proud of every single player, every single staff, and it's for the fans, it's for us. We just need to enjoy it now.
Just tell me what it felt like as the ball hits the back of the net. Just give me a run through of that moment.
I just hoped it went in, and then I saw it bounce, and I thought it went over, and then I just took off. I didn't know what I was doing. I've done a knee slide, I've battered my knee, but the feeling, I just want to take it in as well, and the scenes after we scored were unbelievable.
You've created history tonight, Brennan. Have you even had a chance to process that?
No, not one bit. I still can't process all this. Like, now my family's here. Like, it's a privilege to be with everyone. This is who we all do it for, like, as well as the fans, of course. But we sit down halfway through the season, and everyone told their stories, and you got a little glimpse of what everyone's been through, and it's not easy. Like, we're football players. We're privileged. We have an unbelievable job, but some guys in this team have been through things that I wouldn't wish on anyone, so proud of every single player, and yeah, I love them all.
So what's brought that togetherness?
Yeah, 100%. Like, there's different characters, everyone's from different places, but what brings us together is this shirt, and the manager's made it clear since we started doing that you have your family who you're related to by blood, but when we put on this shirt, that gets us our bond. And tonight, I think any player, any member of staff, any fan would have genuinely run for a brick wall to win. I know I would have, so I'm so proud of everyone, and it means the world.
We're so proud of you. Congratulations.
Unbelievable. Tottenham goal scorer Brennan Johnson. And can I just say to listeners on audio, the cry is as the encore, which Dow and Tej might be more used to than me and Marlon. We want more. We want more. We want more. I honestly don't want this show to ever end because.
Just leave the stream going all night.
I know.
Even my wife don't tell me she wants more. She wants less than me.
Mine's in bed. She definitely don't want more.
That's why me and you up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I know. It's crazy. And guys, like listeners on audio, it is 2:52 a.m. in the morning here. And there's more and more people joining this show. It must be maybe the Aussie effect. I've got nearly 8,000 of you that are joining us here. Unbelievable. As I keep on saying, guys, please like the show, share it out to a worldwide Spurs audience. TJ always does go at me for saying, Rick, you don't keep asking for likes and subscribes. Do it for TJ. Keep liking, keep subscribing. Look, we're going to go on.
Question. How many people do you say is on this live now?
About 7,000.
At least 3,000 have to like. If they want more, at least 3,000 have to like. 3,000.
We're going to protest. We're going to protest. I tell you. Look, we're going to have a quick glimpse back at the game and talk about some of the other players that had a massive effect on the night and kind of then summarise what the future of Tottenham is. Who really cares? We've just won a European trophy. And if those listeners all there heard that Brennan Johnson interview there, the absolute thing in the background, or the cry from Spurs fans, champions of Europe. You know, we are champions of Europe. It's just an unbelievable 24 hours where, quite simply, I don't want to go to bed because I'm terrified. I wake up and this is a dream. I really hope it isn't. Look, Ange Postecoglou, going into the game, had a bit of a decision to make in terms of the team for this one. He had to get creative, and we knew with Spurs, obviously, beforehand, we had the loss of Dejan Kulusevski. There was the umming and ahhing as to whether Lucas Bergvall would feature. He obviously didn't. We had Pat Matassar coming into the side, Richie playing on the left up top, Son's placed alongside Dominic Solanke and Brennan Johnson, Dane Scarlett returning after his groin surgery to take place on the bench among the 12 subs. So the Tottenham team that went into this one did read Vicario, Porro, Romero, who we'll come on to shortly, Van der Ven, Doggy, Bentancur, Basuma, Sarr, Johnson, Solanke, Richarlison, a bench for Spurs of Austin, Whiteman, Spence, Danso, Davis, Gray, Moore, Ajay, Odegaard, Tell, Son, Scarlett. And just so I'm fitting everything in for this show, if I can very, very quickly, a big shout out to our long-term sponsor of the show, NordVPN. You are going to be needing NordVPN for your European nights that are coming your way next season in the Champions League and the Super Cup. Get over to NordVPN, hit the QR code on your screens for 4 extra months for free on a 2-year plan. But look, the game itself, as we discussed, was a cagey game. I mean, it wasn't a great watch, let's be honest about it. First half, I did feel that, I mean, again, it's not a night to talk about referees, but I felt the referee at certain points in that game. I mean, did you not have 12 players on the pitch? Does it matter now? Ruben Amorim, obviously, we said earlier, calling United the better side on the day. United did go close, you'd say arguably early on. Vicario got a slight touch to Fernandez's corner. Diallo raced past Romero, but fired wide from a tight angle. And then the Brennan Johnson goal, Miles, to come over to you on Brennan Johnson and the goal and how it came about. And, again, I will re-emphasise the point. Tottenham have not scored a goal in their last 4 finals, 44 shots later. And in such typical Tottenham fashion, we're still questioning who actually got the final touch. Was it Brennan Johnson? Been credited to Brennan Johnson. And Marlon's put together this nice little reel here that talks you through the goal and how it came about. Look, Sarr intercepted a pass, putting a cross in which deflects off a United player, but Johnson is there to poke home the rebound. Onana couldn't keep it out. And look, I think scenes all around us, whether you was in Bilbao, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, watching it on the box, scenes of joy, Miles, because we finally ended this curse of not scoring in a cup final, and it was the winner, Miles.
It was that pass from Richarlison into Bentancur that started it all. there was just something about that pass, even though it didn't really lead to nowhere. It set up the tone of what was going to happen. And when Sarr got that ball, and I just went, whip it, whip it, whip it, whip it, and he just put it in an area. Luke Shaw, who barely played this year, got all confused with himself. And I'm going to sit there and tell you this as an extract of myself. You can see where the ball spins. Johnson gets the faintest, and I mean the faintest of touches. And it was quite weird because when the goal went in, the guys next to me, no one knew it actually got in. And I literally got up and celebrated. And they were like, what? Is it in? I was like, yeah, me and Johnson knew. We knew it was in. And just to put it out there, 3 European finals for Onana, another loss. Another loss. But he looked shaky. Every time we were getting balls into that box, he looked shaky. And that should have been probably more what we should have gone for. But look, I'm taking this all day long. And like I said earlier, from earlier in the program, it was a tap-in, and I'll take these tap-ins all day long in a final. And the fact I could celebrate a goal in a final, and now I'm celebrating a win. And actually, it's not just me; it's all of us. It's the Spurs family, and that's what it is for the next few months, whole year,
Oh my God.
until they present this trophy to someone else. It's ours.
It's ours. It's ours. I mean, look, I think you have to say, I'll go back to that point. The first player to score for Spurs in a final since Jonathan Woodgate in 2008. I keep saying it's 44 shots and 4 finals later, we've got our cup final goal. And isn't it so aptige? It's the winner. And I think whatever happens from here, it's a lovely moment for Brennan Johnson, who said, again, in that post-match interview there, that, when you put on that shirt, which Ange just said to the players, it really does mean something. And he said, look, I can't explain that feeling. I'm so happy right now. He acknowledges the season hasn't been a good one in terms of the Premier League, but the club has not won for 17 years. All the fans get battered for not winning a trophy, but we had to get the first one in a while. I don't care if the kit man had scored. We just needed to win, Teach.
Yeah, and listen, he's courted a lot of controversy this season. I have always defended Brennan Johnson. I think he's an exciting young talent, and I've said as well many times, it's not his fault that he cost what he cost. He's a young British player, and they come at a premium. My criticism of him has been he needs to learn how to take his man on. And what I liked about him tonight, just seemed more confident. I think it was Marlon who said Luke Shaw didn't fancy him at all, did he? Just didn't fancy him at all. Luke Shaw, I mean, he was a great player. I just think, obviously this isn't a United show, but he plays for England and all that kind of thing. I feel a bit for Luke Shaw, poor thing. And he just looked rusty tonight. And Brennan thought, I'm going to have you, son. And he did. And we've also talked on the show before, Rick, and we've talked, when we're chatting, he's never offside. That's also not easy to do. If you're constantly popping up at the back post or at the front post and you're never offside, and he's never offside. And so I think that he's an exciting young player. I only think he's getting better. And what I was saying earlier about how this is an enormous shot in the arm of belief and confidence for these young men. And I think Brennan Johnson next season for Tottenham Hotspur will be absolutely electric, especially with Tell and Odeberg, providing really good competition for him. And, without that goal, guys, remember, we've got no Maddison, no Kulusevski, and no Bergvall tonight.
Yep.
And so that's a lot of goals missing from the team. And I knew he'd score tonight. I actually had him down to score 2. But I'm delighted for the kid. And again, delighted for his family. He's from a footballing family. He's caught a lot of heat this season. So well played to you, young man.
Amen. And I mean, just on this point that we mentioned here, Dow, which I think shouldn't be underestimated, as TJ, put across there, 18th goal of the season. Tottenham's all, leading scorer in all competitions this season for the football club. He's given that term back post Brennan, but he's got to put the ball in the back of the net, which we know in football is the hardest job. He's done it in the cup final for the football club.
And stay on side.
Sometimes you just have to appreciate things for what they are. Brennan Johnson, his game is that. What he did today is what he does. He has a natural instinct to time that run. Back post, near post. He knows where that ball instinctively is going to drop, and he gets himself there. And that's not a fluke. That's why he's got so many goals. That's why he's our top goal scorer. And Marlon's absolutely right. He got the faintest of touches. And you know honesty in players, and he's an honest player. When he got that faint touch, he was celebrating straight away. It was like, that's mine. He knew that was his. And that's it. He wasn't trying to cheat off a guy. He knew that was his. And I'm glad he's been credited with a goal. And I think it's so interesting. Like, you look at a Brennan Johnson, you look at a Spurs lineup today. There were elements missing. There was personnel missing.
Of course, yeah.
And what these guys did today is every man did their job. Solanke did the thankless task up front. Johnson made his near post, far post runs. Porro whipped balls in. Richarlison ran himself into the ground. Basuma and Bentancur were the absolute rocks in front. Sarr was able to be that box to box, but when we needed him to sit, he sat. You looked at Romero tonight, who said, I'm not going to allow myself to be frustrated. I've always said about Romero, if he keeps his head, he's brilliant. When he loses it, game over. Maguire wanted a war because he was frustrated, and Romero played it superbly. If that's his last time that he gives us that performance, thank you, Romero. God bless you. I wish you well in your endeavours, because tonight you gave us what we needed. You was a leader on that pitch. You fought through the game. You proved what you are. You're a winner. You've won with Argentina. You know how to do it. And that was what I watched today. People showing their worth, showing their credit. Our credit to our manager, who tactically worked out Man United when they struggle, give them the ball and let them cross it in. They will not beat us in the air. And that's what everyone believed. You saw the belief. And when it got more sticky, he brought Danzo on and went, another person who can win the ball in the air. They're not winning the game there. That's not where they're tactically going to win it. And if we keep them out wide and cross it, it's bread and butter for us. Of course, Vicario is going to give us heart attacks. He will never catch when we want him to. Well, God bless that man. God bless that man. God bless him. But when we need him, he pulls off that save. And that's the thing. I said it to a guy next to me. He was slagging off Vicario at one stage. I went, you know, when we need him, he's going to
pull off a save.
And there it was. Second later, we did it. I looked at him, I went, what did I tell you?
He wouldn't listen. He wouldn't be a Tottenham player if there was something missing, wasn't there, Dal? He'd have to say missing. He's a Tottenham player.
Absolutely, absolutely. And everybody did what they needed to today.
Yeah.
And I know I'm saying today, yesterday, tomorrow. Forgive me. Well, I'm all over the
This is an audio. We'll get it. They'll get it.
Germany, I'm all over the place. But we won. We won.
You know, on that pairing, I keep saying we've got to bring the show to an end at some point. I know people are saying we never want this to end.
We keep going. We keep going.
We were more than the game. That's been Jason's bigger criticism. Jason goes, how can we do a podcast that lasts longer than the bloody game? He just never gets it. He doesn't understand
Tonight we
it.
can. Tonight we can.
That back two, that centre back pairing, please God, we're going to see him again in the Spurs shirt feature for us in the Champions League. Because, I mean, you know, let's talk about that back two for a second, coming over to Miles. If I can keep Miles awake, I know he's there. He's been through the ringer and he's driven back as well. Can I just say, he's fine. We have to get him on the Red Bull. We got him on the Red Bull. We have to talk about this unbelievable Mickey van der Ven acrobatic goal line clearance, which, you know what? I mean, it looks for all the world like it's going to be a goal. And he defended well throughout the game. You know, really, him and Romero, when you're looking at leaders on the pitch and what they done, it just felt there was almost like kind of Gandalf analogy. You will not pass, you shall not pass. It was almost like that. I mean, Miles, this performance from these two guys, Van der Ven with the clearance, you had Romero, who was named man of the match, battling leader. He took a lot of knocks. We saw that, I think, throughout that kind of battle with Maguire. Even at the end of the game, I don't know if anyone's seen it yet. He went over to Maguire to kind of offer his hand. He was pushed away from the United players. I mean, he's the king when it comes to the mind games. Even at the end of the game, he dropped down for a few minutes, wasted time, almost, we've asked for that so much, that kind of game craft that, we've asked for this so many times, Miles. I mean, that back two, how special are they? Because there's been a lot of comparisons to Toby and Jan, who are unbelievable during their pomp for Tottenham. I think the problem with Van der Ven and Romero is individually, they are absolutely amazing on their day. The fitness has been an issue, but they've wrote themselves to Spurs Faulkner and delivered us a trophy now, Miles.
And that's how good they are.
Yeah,
that is literally
exactly.
how good they
Yeah.
are. But yeah, when I could have killed Vicario at one point, I literally could have killed him, and that was right. If he was sitting next to me, he probably would have said the same thing to me. But I know what Vicario is like, so. But at that moment, I'm going to sit there and tell you this. At that precise moment when Van der Ven cleared it off the line, that's when I knew.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
When it's written in the stars and stuff is meant to happen,
stuff like that doesn't happen to Tottenham. Stuff like that doesn't happen to Tottenham.
And
It doesn't happen to Spurs.
And look how far he gets up. His legs are completely. I thought he was Superman at one point. I thought it was Vertonghen was back. That is literally where I was. His legs are so high.
I keep expecting the ball to go in.
Yeah.
And can I jump in on that a second, gents?
Good.
As I was driving back, there was a guy who called in on TalkSport, and he spoke about this moment, but he touched my soul. I wish I remember his name. He said his dad passed away a few weeks ago, and he said when Mickey Van der Ven leaped in the air, he said science, he defied science and gravity. And he said, you know how we did that? All of our ancestors who are past, who don't get to see this moment, he lifted him up. And I was like, amen. It was so beautifully said. And as you said, Miles, it defied belief. Our Spurs heroes, our legends up there, they helped him get there.
It's going to be fascinating again, isn't it, Miles, on this point with these two? I mean, Mickey, we know, will be fine. Romero, there's that question mark around what his future is. You know, he performs a man of the match performance. I think every Tottenham fan will hope and pray this isn't the last time we see him in the European stage for Tottenham, right?
No, and it's not. And look, the thing with Romero and Van der Ven, it's always going to be a fitness issue with those two. If we could get them out for more games, you know, we all know it'd be a lot higher in the league. But I also wanted to give a shout out to Danso when he came on.
He was brilliant, Danso.
As a free.
Yes.
Oh my God. Did we just see something tonight and go, this could be the winning formula if we could get them all fit? And that's that's not a thing at Danso, it's more a thing at Van der Ven and Romero. And look, I know Dragoshin's got to come back as well. And at this present moment, I just want to celebrate. I know I'm sitting there like nearly half asleep, but Romero, like I didn't even mention Van der Ven in the first half. And look how much possession Man United had. Romero, we mentioned a few times, but it was the second half. And in that when Danso came on, that's when those three all came into their own and went, no, you shall not pass. And that's all it was. Vicario was trying to get him to pass, but in the end, he stepped up in the last 10 minutes. He just went, this is our day. This is what it's going to be. But that was the moment I think every Spurs fan, if they look at it now, will go, that's when I knew it was ours.
Yeah, I do agree. Fascinating decision, isn't it? What happens now with regards to Romero? I mean, many would say, you know, in your game that you are in, you and Dow, you know, quit whilst you're at the top. You know, when you deliver that kind of performance, when you're man of the match, which Romero was, and had that little altercation at the end there with, you know, Maguire. I mean, is there a better way to sign off? Although we want more, it's a tricky one, isn't it? For him personally,
it's
fascinating.
Yeah, it is, and it's just yet more theatre, isn't it? Obviously, winning this trophy, winning a trophy with Tottenham, and you know, perhaps he was buying into the rhetoric. And let's be honest, the rhetoric is ceaseless. I mean, it's just constantly swirling around this club that we don't win anything and that we're cursed and all the rest of it. So maybe he bought into that, which I understand. And like Darren said, listen, man, he's a winner. He's a winner. So if he did feel like, you know, I'm not going to get anything here, then I'll go somewhere else. But you're now playing in the Champions League and you've got a winner's medal around your neck with Tottenham Hotspur written on it. And also, it was one of his most complete performances in a Tottenham shirt tonight. He looked like Argentinian Romero rather than N17 Romero.
At times, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so perhaps yet another pivotal point for yet another potentially pivotal player. I'm already really looking forward to next season. What's wrong with me? I want TJ
on Sunday. He's all right.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Super Cup first.
Bro,
Super
Cup. I can't wait.
Super Cup first. Who's the manager? Forget about it. Doesn't matter. We've just won a European trophy. Forget about it.
Nuts. Maybe
Only Tottenham.
It's 3
Only
o'clock in the
Tottenham.
morning, and I'm a little delirious. And I drove down from the countryside today. But I want more of it. I can't wait.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Put it in my veins. I'm hooked.
Yeah, I agree. Look, but again, we'll talk about Vicario for a second because, an interesting night for Vic, to be fair. I mean, Dale said it there. He was at the Spurs Stadium and, you've got fans all around you where, again, there'll be certain moments where you just think in a final, you want someone that's calm, composed, and you've got Vicario that dropped one at one point, had a cut of flaps actually early on, pushed away Garnacho's low shot not too long after, and he made up for everything with that absolute late saving added time from Shaw. But we talked about it earlier, and again, we'll give those guys a mention. The likes of Benson Core. Again, there's been times where you've questioned his consistency. Again, he works so hard for the team in the middle of the pitch. And Yves Bissouma, who we've touched upon during this show, actually a number of times. I think it's important that we say with regards to Biss that, Ange had that prep talk with him about a fortnight ago where he said to Biss, you are going to be so important come the end of the season. You might not know when, but you are going to be. And he was absolutely magnificent. That was the Brighton Bissouma. That was the player that we all wanted to sign. And he was superb. And, Pat Matassar, again, a player that for Pat, I think we've all had really high hopes for what his next season was going to be in a Tottenham shirt. I mean, it's important with Pat, we say, has been hampered with injuries, works so hard, I think you've got to say, off the ball, just to find his selection, constantly running, didn't really give United's midfield, defence, forwards a moment's rest. He was constantly on their back. And again, a shout out for Dominic Solanke, who, for Dom, I think for a lot of the season has been judged on purely his goal tally, which isn't terrible. But I think what goes maybe amiss for some is the work rate he puts on in that pressing role. He did that great chance in the second half where he broke up the pitch with Doggy, but he just couldn't control a Doggy's pass at the time. And also worth for Richarlison because Richie, again, as Teach touched upon, is a player that might be leaving in the summer. Don't know yet. We'll wait and see. But just worked so hard for the team defensively. As Marlon touched upon, was involved in the goal, did pick up a yellow card and came off, not too long after that. But yeah, just unbelievable. And I also shout out, I've got to say, and I'm going through the whole team here, but Archie Gray. I mean, Archie Gray, again, young kid. I know Miles at certain points this season's had difficulty with regards to some of his performances. But, even at the end there for Tottenham, he really did chase down everything, stop United getting through, a real disciplined display when coming on. And as we touched upon, Kevin Danso making his impact as he did. Destiny and Doggy, again, working so hard, came off late on, took a couple of knocks. But again, Destiny, who, to be fair, again, there was question marks over Jed, should have maybe kept his place in the team when he had that unbelievable run. Destiny's come back in and shown himself to be the reason why Ange just kept him in the team. So what it does make for Tottenham is, of course, a very interesting summer to come, an interesting next few days, whereas Dale has reminded you more than once, twice, 3 times, Tottenham have secured Champions League football. Tottenham are in the Super Cup. It's just an unbelievable season where I know many just don't want this to come to an end. And I think what we do need to emphasise again is that there are a lot of players that couldn't feature that would love to have been there. The likes of James Maddison, Lucas Bergvall, Radu Dragusin, dare I say even Timo Werner we saw on the end of the pitch there parading. There's so many players that have missed out that would love to have been part of it, but it's been a real team effort. Before we do give our closing thoughts, let's hear from Spurs' gaffer very, very quickly in this clip of a minute where he does give his reaction to the Spurs fans behind him of just going on to lift that Europa League. Let's hear from Ange very, very quickly.
The first Australian man to win a European final, the first Greek man to win a European final. What does that mean to you as someone that takes so much pride in his identity?
I don't know. I'll think about all those things. I know what it means to the club, and that's what I love these moments. I've had a few of them in my career because I just look around and see what it does to people, and that's the most special thing for me.
Lots of people have spoken and asked you about your dad and what it would have meant for him to see this. I wondered now, seeing your boys run onto the pitch, how much that means to you to see them have that moment with you tonight.
Yeah, it's everything. Family's everything, and my dad, my mum I'm sure he's watching in Greece somewhere with my sister and my nephews. And yeah, great to have my wife, my 3 boys here. You know, they're everything to me, and they're my biggest supporters. And again, tonight's about giving back to them.
Ange, thanks for tonight. Congratulations.
I think really important that we close that show on Ange, purely because that's the first time Ange has had his name sung so passionately like that since, I want to say, we demolished Southampton away from home. It's been that long. I think you go back to November, December. So what are we, 5 months later? Spurs have got a parade on Friday. It's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be memorable. Guys, just to close, sum up your feelings on Spurs winning the European trophy. 1984. God, 41 years wait. 17 years ended now without, obviously, of course, delivering this silverware. And I think crucially what's put to Mickey in his presser, which a lot of people picked up on, the question was asked, will this end this trophy stigma? Will it end Spursy? Will it end this debate about Tottenham being everybody's joke? Paddy Power, other outlets are out there as well that have run up the jokes about Spurs winning trophies. And, you know, we make that point about Spurs now and the lack of trophies. They've delivered one now. Dow, does that stop, in your opinion, the trophy narrative? Or will people just say, it's only the Europa League?
It stops now. It has to stop. They have no legs to stand on. It can't be only the Europa League. You can't put that in a sentence. It doesn't make sense. It comes up as error. It makes no sense. You can't only that. That does not make sense. Spurs fans, don't let anybody try and humble this and make this seem small. Don't let the Wenger chat that we don't deserve what we get. Don't let none of that narrative enter your mindset today. You're a winner. We are winners. Tonight, we celebrate. What we got to look forward to is a Super Cup. That's what we have to look forward to. You know, our neighbours, they've never played in that. They don't know what that is. They've never experienced that. They don't know what it is. This is uncharted territory, and we're there. But guess what? We've been there before. We know what this is about. They don't. And Spurs fans, enjoy every second. Pinch yourself. Watch the highlights. Don't watch the whole game. It was a shocker. Don't watch the whole game. Watch the highlights. Watch the highlight reel. Remember the random strangers that you hug, that you embrace. We all are unified by that badge. That badge right there brings us all together. I watched generations of Spurs fans today
crying
come together, crying, hugging, living in a moment.
Yeah.
Life sometimes is hard. And we speak about how difficult life can be for us all. And I think Ange summed that up in what he did, what Johnson said. People talking about their lives in that dressing room and then coming together, united by that badge and playing together. And what this did today, it united our whole fan base. It brought everyone together. So Spurs fans, wear the badge. Let us see you. Let us see you so that when we see each other, we embrace each other and we celebrate together. This is a moment of togetherness and celebration. We are Tottenham, Super Tottenham from the lane. We are Tottenham, Super Tottenham. We are Tottenham from the lane, and we are champions. And don't let anybody out there burst that bubble, bring you out of that joy, stay in it and live in it for as long as we can because it's ours. And I'm buzzing. Love you all.
Love you all, brother. Honestly, love you all. Unbelievable. I don't want to wake up. I just don't want to wake up. I mean,
don't go to sleep. I'm not. Hey.
Miles, let me come to you. You know, London teams that have won a trophy since Arsenal last won a trophy. Tottenham, Palace, West Ham, Fulham, Leyton Orient, Sutton United. Does that quiet the lot from down the road, do you think, Miles? Been very quiet over there. What do you think?
Yeah, of course it will. It needs to keep them quiet. They don't know what Europe's all about. They keep telling us about the Premier League. Hold on. I thought you were meant to be big in overseas. No, we are. We're bigger than you overseas. Look, I'm happy. I'm glad we won. The only conversation that probably needs to happen going forward is, Mr. Levy, don't make this a last. Otherwise, we still are. Otherwise, it will become a joke again. And it will be the same conversations in about 3-4 years if he doesn't build upon this. This is our moment.
Very important. Very important. Yeah. Very important.
This is your time to show us what you said you built the stadium for. We've got one over the line. we want more.
Yeah,
that's all we want. We want more. So let's go and do it. This is your you said we needed Champions League money. We've got it.
Yeah,
it's up to you now. It's not up to the staff. It's not up to anyone else. This is now up to them to take us forward and not make this the last. And that's why I'm answering your question about will we still be a joke? Not for the next year, but as long as this will last again, people are like, oh, it's just a one-off. It's typical Spurs. They only win something every 17 years, and we don't want that. We want to be every 3 to 5 years, and that's where we want to be. So let's do this.
I think that's such an important point to close on to TJ on that point there. Such an important point there from on, isn't it? You know, we don't want to be in this situation again where we're having to have another 17-year wait for the trophy. We want this to be normalised. We want to be able to look forward to parades, winning trophies with family, with friends, and make this a normal thing and not have to wait this long. This is now, I think, the challenge that's laid down, isn't it now? Yeah. Can they fulfill this? We will see, right?
Yeah, and it's now a question of identity. Who do we want to be? And, we've said on the show many times that winning is one thing. You have one winner and 20 losers, or however many partook and didn't win, they are all losers. And also the thing is that we all know what happened when we reached the final in 2019. We all know that they received watches for reaching the final, which again is just a horribly twisted mentality and shows a real disconnect with what the idea of victory is and also what our expectations are. And then, of course, when Liverpool, who, of course, won that game and then just went on and continued to strengthen and strengthen and strengthen and strengthen, and arguably now, one of the best teams, if not the best team in Europe, maybe PSG would have something to say about that. We didn't make a single signing for 18 months, which was as baffling as it is negligent. And so Marlon's absolutely right, man. This is a wonderful moment. And Darren has absolutely waxed lyrical about that all night. And he's 100% right, is that we should celebrate, embrace this moment, and remember how special this is. And whoever you were there with, if you're there with your family, wonderful. There with your friends, wonderful. Even if you're hugging and kissing strangers, which we all did tonight, wonderful. And so, yes, we hold on to that moment and we celebrate it for what it is, but we build upon that momentum. No longer will we be satisfied to lie around and to be the butt of people's jokes. No longer will we sit silent while people make yet another jape at Tottenham Hotspur. If we're a Big Six club, then behave like a Big Six club. Go on, make the investments, bring in the players, support the manager, give us what we deserve. We're a very wealthy club. We're incredibly well run. It makes a lot of money. Spend the money. Bring success to Tottenham on the regular. Thank you so much for having me on the show, man. Thank you so much to all the lovely people that I met on the streets and at the stadium tonight. Thank you so much to these fine gentlemen who I'm privileged to have been on the screen with so many times. Miles, thanks for holding it down, man, while we were at the stadium. D, great to see you, brother. Love you guys so much. I will see you on Saturday. To all the viewers and the listeners, we did it. We did it tonight. We are Tottenham Hotspur and we are winners tonight. Love you guys.
Love you too, mate. It's going to be an unbelievable party in these next few days and everybody is invited. Tottenham have done it. They have ended their 17-year wait for a trophy. I want to say a massive thank you to the near on 8,000 that have stuck with us through to nearly 3:30 in the morning. Wow. I mean, it is unbelievable, the reach of this show. Now he's showing us the time on his mobile. He's been doing for every kind of 25 minutes on a stopwatch. Closing thoughts. Miles, thank you so much. Unbelievable, right? Enjoy. Got to enjoy, right? Enjoy.
Enjoy it, people. We've got a whole year. Yeah. Enjoy.
Yeah. It's going to be fascinating in the next few days, right? We're going to have a massive party and it's going to be amazing. And you're here with us for it over in the UK. We can't wait. Dal, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Listen, team, esteemed team, panel, viewers, listeners, we know this season has probably been, for a lot of people out there, one of the most difficult listens and watch of Last Word on Spurs. But it has ended in a trophy. It means for Tottenham, we will be playing Champions League football. Those glory nights are back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And hopefully there is many more trophies to come from myself, from the wonderful actors of TJ Ramini and Darren Hartman, from Marlon the Spurs Kings, who's been keeping us locked in and down. Thank you so much for your support. Before you go, keep liking, keep subscribing. We have been The Last Word on Spurs. We're going to see you soon. And we are European champions. From us all, keep safe, keep well. And as always, come on, you Spurs.